gun attachments on the side.
Oh, so you can
But then
do
also
like...
have a wheel that can come out and pull up so you can play. So it's like an all-purpose arcade.
So yeah, it'd be pretty sweet. So are you going to build it yourself? Because you can buy like the pre-made ones.
Yeah, and so that's what my previous one was, is I bought the pre-made frame, but then I did all the wiring and everything for it. And so I might do something similar to that.
I want you to build me a Super Nintendo.
I mean, I have this.
That is not hard to do.
I know.
We don't do it.
That's right.
Yeah, Super Nintendo's out of whack.
We don't do
it because all
if we were to do it, we do it only for educational purposes.
Do you know the last time
Research
I
purposes.
tried to program something? This I soldered a hard drive that would power my phone from an Altoid box.
Oh, is that in my year's class?
And guess what? I fried it. I forgot to put in a resistor, so it
it's a
completely
blue-
fried the capacitor. But then I had to present it in class. But the light still worked on the LED when I flipped the switch, so it looked like it was charging my phone, but in reality, it was just a light switch.
I accidentally put when I was fixing mom and dad's laptop, because the power just died. I pulled out one of those, and I can't think of the name of it, that you can check the power voltage.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess
Voltage meter.
Any voltage meter, yeah. And I accidentally put them opposite,
Oh.
and it went, and it had smoke come out, and I'm like, crap, I broke this. So I did some flamingling, as I like to call it, and I got it back up and going. But that was one of those that I was like, I just destroyed this motherboard.
Just burn the motherboard.
So-
to death.
I just work with money. I can't deal with it. Crap.
It's one of those, I love doing
Dirt
stuff.
and bugs. Dirt and bugs.
Say,
I can build a solar plant. I can do different things like that.
I know.
But when it comes to small tech stuff, I am.
See, and I'm all about technology, but I can't do any of the other stuff, which is why my basement's still only partially finished, because I'm like, I don't want to do anymore.
I want to build a house. Do you guys want to build a house?
No.
By hand?
You got to buy it.
I wouldn't mind doing some of the work, but like,
I'd love to build a
lot
cabin.
of work.
Say, I can help with framing and drywall, but I want someone else to be doing the measurements, and then I'll help with the remainder.
Let's get started, and then we can keep
Oh, okay.
twaddling.
That was good, Danny.
Welcome to the Twaddling Along podcast. I am your host, Dan McBride, here with my brothers and co-hosts, Josh
What's up?
and Jake.
I like tech.
You do like tech.
I like money.
You do like money.
I spend it very quickly.
Me too.
I'm glad my wife is not a spender.
Your wife is. She is like
Anti-spend.
bargain saver. Awesome.
I know. You know those couponers that make everyone nuts?
She is a couponer.
She does it very strategically, though.
Showing off my religion over here, people. Sorry.
You are.
But yeah. So she balances me out.
That's what you need in life.
Yes.
You need someone to balance you out.
But then when she really wants something like a Kia Sorento,
You just get a Kia Sorento.
I go in looking for like another car and I come out with a Kia Sorento.
Hey, speaking of that, I think last time we talked about your car. How's that
Freaking
coming?
car, man.
You said it was better, but then it got worse again.
It works.
So did the fix actually do something?
So once upon a time, someone changed my brakes,
Yeah,
and that person was me.
I see.
Well, when I tried changing them the first time, I didn't have the right tools, and so I guess I didn't tighten the pin on the caliper all the way, and the pin ejected itself from the brakes, and I was only driving on 3 brakes. Okay, that's the beginning of the story.
Okay.
Well, I did that for a few days, and I guess a lot of dirt and crud got into the caliper, so when I reinstalled the pins, the dirt and stuff in the caliper holes solidified with the oil or whatever they call it, the grease, and it locked up the pins completely. And so it locked the brakes against the thing. So it got to the point that my tire wouldn't even move if it was in drive. So they fixed that by just putting grease back on the pins, for crap's sake. It was a $5 fix.
And that's good. We like that.
You do like that.
But then I also have to replace all my wheel bearings on the other 3 tires, and that's like $6,000, so I don't know if I'm going to do that yet.
Really? That's a lot of money.
It's about $1,300 per wheel.
So the moral of the story I'm hearing is, one, you should have listened to your brother the first time when I said, hey, do you know what you shouldn't do? Replace your own brakes.
Your own brakes, unless you know what you're doing.
And then two,
Well,
don't buy a Subaru.
here's my... Okay, well, the 2 times I've replaced brakes was on my Chevy, and I sheared off the pin because I put a little too much torque on it. Second time, I didn't tighten it enough, and the pin ejected itself. And so every time I braked, the caliper came off the brake and would do this when I tried pressing the brakes.
So you know that they actually have like crescent wrenches that do...
Yes, I have a torque wrench.
Yes, but they actually show the torque that you...
Yeah, I have one of those.
Okay.
And so why didn't I use it?
Right.
I don't know.
Wait, you had it and you didn't use it?
I used it, and I thought I had done it correctly.
Oh.
But this was also when I was trying to do it in my apartment parking lot with a jack that was from the back of my car. Because I was mad.
We are so grateful that Josh is still with us
We
to
are.
this day.
I will be honest, it was kind of scary because it rolled off the jack and my hands were underneath. And my wife screamed and I pulled out my hands and the car just rolled back on itself.
And then Josh went, you know what? I'll just jack it up with the same jack again.
I'm going to do it the exact same way again.
And I did because I had to put the wheel back on.
And what happened, Joshua?
I put the wheel back on and then the pin ejected itself because I forgot to tie the pin back on.
Right.
So, yeah.
So valuable lessons here
So
on Twaddling
I
Along.
like money.
So he
And
likes money.
I don't do mechanic stuff anymore. And
There
I
you go.
told my wife, I said, I'm retiring from this.
But
we
he'll
do-
go and pay $1,000 for a camping supply.
We do.
Shut up.
We do have to point out that Josh sounds a little different today. Josh has got a cold.
What? I sound a little different?
You just
Am I not all nasally and stuffy all the time?
You're just a little stuffy.
I mean,
a
we're
little
nasally in nature, but you know.
Are we nasally in nature? Do you guys feel like you're nasally? Because I
do feel like I'm
I
nasally.
feel like I'm a nasally voice.
I have a very high voice. And it's funny because, you know, you have the 80s like rock bands where they start singing and you're like, man, that's really high. And then you sing and realize that it's like mid-range for you. And
Oh,
you're
I was
like,
gonna say,
oh, crap.
Because I listen to us all the time, because I have to edit, I can tell you definitively that I have the highest voice out of everybody.
I think so too. I think Jake has the lowest
Jake
voice.
very much has the lowest voice.
If you not noticed, Jake works really hard to not talk really high. Because I've noticed when I do, I sound nasally or I sound stuffed.
Stuffed.
And I hate that.
I want to sound like Michael Jackson.
Hee hee.
I just can talk up here all the time and work out my muscles.
That made me uncomfortable.
That did. I didn't feel good about that at all. I didn't like that. I didn't want any part of it. I was forced into it.
And now we have it recorded.
Now it's forever going to go down in history.
Well,
And I'm not going to edit it out.
what else can I lose at this point?
Well, that's sad.
I've already
What-
ruined my
What
reputation.
else can I lose?
Fired from 6 jobs. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, you know, I have stuff pop up online with news like local YouTuber or TikTok influencer or whatever loses position or stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what happened. And you go on and you're like, wow, they really, really screwed up.
Yeah.
So I feel good about it.
It would take
So,
a lot for us
I
to get
guess
fired.
I owe
think.
my entire career to Danny, who edits out everything that I could ruin everything about
for
me.
I don't edit that much out.
If we take the amount of time, I could probably do 3 episodes.
By the way, I'll have to tell you the real story of your remember the fireside story that you told.
Oh yeah,
No, nobody here is going to ever know what we're talking about because I edited it out. There's actually a real story, and it's kind of sad.
it is really sad.
It is.
Oh, so you actually did research on it?
I did. Yeah.
Was it real?
No.
Oh,
No, but it's kind of even more sad than you think. So,
oh my gosh.
So there you go.
Well, if you want, join our Patreon for $1 million per subscription,
That would be sweet.
and you can listen to this horrible story that I just made up.
We don't have a Patreon though.
Because someone would pay $1 million to hear our mistakes. I'm sure.
Hey, it wasn't a mistake. It was a brilliant story that was not good for children's.
There are more listeners. We are slowly gaining listeners.
Are we really?
We really are.
Oh, guys, thanks for sharing.
On what?
I don't know. No, YouTube. And YouTube podcasts, we've actually had like a steady increase.
Have we really?
Spotify, we've had a steady increase.
I'm
yeah.
sorry,
I
everybody.
must be looking in the wrong place because every time I go on YouTube, I'm like, oh, we only have like 5 views.
Well, you gotta. So the views are different. You have to actually go on the podcast. So the podcast and the views on the videos are different.
Do we get comments?
We did get one.
I know we got one for the
and it probably
the
said,
storyboard that we
Yeah.
did.
and it probably said, this stupid freaking podcast.
No,
No,
it
actually, it was
was,
very
it was
positive.
a nice one.
It was a very nice one.
Oh,
yeah.
was it from our wife?
No, I don't think so. I don't know who it was from, but it was
I wanna
whoever
go-
you
what,
are. Thank
the
you so
storyboard
much.
one?
I would be very curious to know if people are interested in more of those storyboards
I would like to do more
because
of the storyboards.
those are not that hard to do.
Oh, crap.
So
Yeah, but not hard for you to do.
no, well, I mean,
Little-
I have that or King Henry one that I have that I need to just do.
We do need to do that.
I'm going to the storyboard as we speak.
While Josh is looking up that, let's introduce what we're actually doing today. Yay!
It's all a big conspiracy.
Oh, that was a segue.
Oh,
By the way, I had a door-to-door salesman on a Segway.
I saw him driving around the other day when I went to.
I lost my cool. He came at 8:59 at night, and when I opened the door, I said, "What are you doing?" He says,
Oh my
"Well,
gosh.
it's not 9 o'clock yet." And I was
You know
like,
what?
"Oh, you!" And so I unleashed on him, and I
Shout out Frogwater at Frogwater2. That's our only comment, and it says jolly good show.
jolly good.
I love it. Shout
But
out
yeah.
Frogwater.
So speaking of Segways,
I said he was around this area when I came for lunch.
yeah,
Did you push him over?
No, it made me laugh because he was going up and down the road, and at first I thought it was just some guy that was trying to figure out how to ride on the Segway
uh-huh.
and was trying to figure it out and couldn't quite do that. And I'm like, oh, poor guy. And then I saw him going up the doors after, and I went, oh, poor guy.
He is not a good person.
I'm sorry. I want to see the research now that shows how successful doing that is now in comparison to before.
I don't know, but like every bro salesman on like YouTube and everything is like, yeah, knocking doors is going to make you $1 million, man. Going to make you a lot of money, man. You got to push through the pain. Don't ignore the no soliciting signs because you can just lie all the time. And it's all.
And that's when I shoot you
There you go.
because you're on my property and I live in Texas.
Well, and the thing that's really frustrating is, in theory, you can trespass them off the property, but like, what am I going to do? Like, you can't hold them on your property. The minute they know that you're going to call the cops, they'll leave. It's just all.
Can I tase him?
No, you can't tase them either.
Can I
You
push
can't
him?
do anything. I actually looked this up after this.
You can just
I wanted to see what kind of bodily harm I could cause.
Just politely tell him to leave, or just open the door and be like, "Not interested." Close the door.
Here's the problem.
They don't leave.
They don't leave anymore.
They'll knock again.
They used to like politely be like, no, thank you, and then like go to close the door. I
They'll
had
put
one
their
guy
foot in
put
the
his
door.
foot in the door.
Oh, see, now that is officially entering into the premises. So that's
Yeah, I lost my
would
cool
say
on that
that's
guy,
a
too.
little bit of a
and
difference.
that's when you shoot them because in Utah you could shoot if they're in your house.
Which means that this is all a
Conspiracy.
Oh,
Also, we don't shoot people, right, Josh?
segue. Josh,
We have
I'm trying to remember if
relatives listening,
everyone
Joshua,
relatives listening.
of younger generations, Joshua.
Josh.
Oh,
Come
I
on,
don't,
Josh.
I don't shoot anybody, and you shouldn't shoot anybody.
Okay, there we go.
It's all a joke. People, don't take anything we say seriously, unless if we write in the thing that
Take this seriously.
advice for marriage. Yeah, don't, whatever.
Josh is on drugs right now. He's on
Josh
Dayquil.
is
know,
on some
I am.
really good drugs.
Yeah.
Hey, we are talking conspiracy
but
today.
not like over the counter drugs, not like bad drugs.
They're not over the counter drugs.
No, they are
Oh,
over the counter
Things
drugs.
are getting worse and worse for you, Josh. Let's just get
shooting
started.
people
Hey, we're
and-
getting started here because I don't know what's going to happen here.
Go
I'm
for it.
scared.
I told the boys beforehand that it's going to be a day.
We are talking history this week. It is the history, but I thought it would be fun to go back and actually look and see if there was conspiracies that happened
In history.
We
in
couldn't find
history. And I found nothing.
It only started about
A whole bunch of aliens. Actually, no, I found like a whole ton.
I was about to say something. I would have gotten in trouble.
Please don't.
Were you going to say what I was going to say?
No, what did he say?
Look at me, Jake.
Hey, look! I drew Luigi.
That is very nice.
Thank you.
It's conspiracy. Why is his hair brown and his mustache black?
Speaking of conspiracy, let's talk about the first one. See, I've got to get everybody on track here.
Okay.
You're good.
Except now I don't know where I'm going.
Where are you going?
What is the first one, Nanny?
The very first one that I found is actually one that's fairly common even to today.
Do I need to enable incognito mode?
Incognito mode. No, this is the fall of the Knights of the Templar.
Oh, yes.
Ooh,
I
nice.
watched
The
this one.
original secret society theory. I'm going to give a little bit of background. So the Knights Templar were just a bunch of kind of wealthy military elite of the Crusades. You know, people think of them as like actual knights. It's actually not really
They were
what
like
it was.
They were
oligarchs
monks.
or
Yeah, they were monks, but they were also very rich people. A lot of them were sons of like the super wealthy elites. And what was crazy is that they had a very like common they had a common way of approaching people, and they had a common way of dressing. So they were dressed in white mantles with big red crosses. The best thing to kind of put your mind into what they actually look like is Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
yes.
That the tunics that the knights wear in that are actually not like normal knight tunics. They're tunics that were from
Knights Templar.
the Knights Templar. And the really big thing is that they only answer to the Pope.
Yes, and that's what made him so powerful is because they didn't have to answer to anybody
They did
except for
not.
the Pope.
Just the Pope.
And all religious history is a little different, but some popes were a little bit more lax with rules than others.
So the other thing that happened is they were the very first to actually establish what we would consider to be an international banking system. And what I mean by that is that up until this point, there were very strict guidelines on how you lend money and how you return money. As a matter of fact, the guidelines are still within the Bible now. It's that you can't charge a usury, or you can't do any kind of percentage or anything like that. However, the Knights Templar found some workarounds.
Yes, they do.
And those workarounds were mostly done by lending out money and then having what's called protectorate money for that money. So you lend the money out and then you say, because we have to protect our interest in this money, we're going to charge you a little bit on this. They were really big in the Crusades, but when the Crusades all of a sudden disappeared and were done, they found themselves very, very, very rich.
Very rich.
Very rich. And the biggest problem is the reason they were so rich is the people that owed them money were some very powerful people. So let's get into the actual conspiracy.
Conspiracy man.
The conspiracy
Conspiracy.
is that King Philip IV, because he owed them so much money, started a rumor that they were antichrists and devil worshippers. The theory claimed that during their private initiation rituals, new recruits were forced to deny Christ,
Nice.
spit on the cross, and engage in ritualistic kissing. Now, I had to look up this ritualistic kissing because it was very funny to me. Because
I just heard sodomy. Was it only kissing?
it was just kissing.
Oh, I say because the stuff that I saw was
it was like
sodomy.
Yeah, no. The original one was just that
Wrong
they were.
conspiracy, Jason.
Sorry. Apologies.
Most bizarrely, the theory insisted that they worshipped a mysterious severed bearded head or idol known as Baphomet. Now, believe it or not,
What was that? Baphomet?
Baphomet.
Okay.
And you've all probably seen a thing of Baphomet.
Oh, shoot.
Because if you were to look up Baphomet right now, and I don't necessarily recommend everybody do this because it's kind of a funky thing, but if you look up Baphomet right now, you're going to find a big old goat head.
Oh, yeah.
The goat head, or what is very commonly as a depiction of Satan, Baphomet, the head of Baphomet, really kind of started with the Knights Templar.
I will also say this: was King Philip IV French?
He was French, and it's King Philip IV.
They left the Catholic Church very soon after.
Yes, and well, here's the crazy thing that happened after that. So this is the first this is the first Inquisition that started. Everybody knows the Spanish Inquisition. Everybody's heard of the Spanish Inquisition. Thank you once again, Monty Python.
Yes.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. But the French Inquisition actually happened before and was even more brutal. So the French started an Inquisition. This was an Inquisition is just the idea that it's a test of faith. So they hired a bunch of people, ordained them priests, and these priests went out and they would test the faith of people. Well, how they tested the faith is by brutal torture.
Yeah, they would, tie a stone to your legs and say, if you have the faith, you will walk as Peter did on the water.
Yes.
And then throw him in the water.
Yeah, exactly. Or
like a witch trial thing.
If you have the faith in Mother Mary, the burning cross will not hurt you. And they would take a red hot poker and jab it into him. I mean, like some pretty awful, terrible things. The reason that this even happened is because King Philip owed the Templars money, or at least supposedly. This is the theory. This is the conspiracy theory, and that. They gathered all these Templars up. They tortured them. A lot of them confessed because, I mean, you're under torture. You're going to confess on things. And finally, the French government, under the Grand Master Jacques de Molay, seized all of the monies of the Templar, seized all of the assets and the lands of the Templar, and permanently disbanded the Templars. Now, the reason that I say that this continues is because how many people have ever heard of the Knights Templar guarding the Holy Grail?
Everybody.
Anybody who has watched Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, yes. They were one of the brothers were considered the Templars. And there's always now that they've gone underground and that like the wickedness of the world has forced them to guard the secrets of true Christianity. And that's actually kind of continued in people connecting the Freemasons to the Templars, the Illuminati to the Templars.
And we could go all the way. Assassin's Creed, National Treasure.
Yep, National Treasure.
Here's an interesting fact about the Templars. So their financial system was adopted by the Rothschilds only a few centuries later.
Theoretically,
because the Templars may not have existed.
Conspiratorially.
But that's what made the Rothschilds so rich, is because they adapted the same.
Now, who are the Rothschilds?
Oh,
one of the wealthiest families ever to live.
We'll have to talk about the Rothschilds.
Here's one more conspiracy. Did you know that another set of people tried to use the same financial system and it resulted in the 2008 recession?
No, but that does sound like a very big conspiracy. Oh, we're going to have to talk about modern day conspiracies.
Yeah. Anyway, Knights Templar.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the Rothschilds. So the banking system, the entire banking system changed right after the Crusades. That's where you had
the Medicis.
Yeah, that's when you had the Medicis that started coming. They were the ones that were in Italy. That's the Florence system that came. The entire Italian banking system came alive. That's kind of what drove the Renaissance. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things that kind of came from this, and it all kind of ties back to some of the same conspiracies.
Did the Knights Templar take the Ark of the Covenant?
That's another conspiracy.
Because they did make it to Jerusalem.
Was the Knight?
According to some
my
people.
question is that was that still there?
Not only did they make it to Jerusalem, I think that they have control of the hill.
Yeah,
of the Temple Hill.
Yeah,
All right, you guys ready for the next one?
Let's do it.
1321.
1321.
The leper plot of France.
1321.
In the spring of 1321, a rumor swept through the southern France that lepers across the country had formed a highly organized subterranean network. The theory alleged that they were conspiring to poison all the public wells, the fountains, and the rivers in Europe to cause a universal outbreak of leprosy, effectively overthrowing the healthy population and taking over society. As the rumor grew, it mutated to include a geopolitical angle. People claimed the lepers were working as secret agents for the Muslim king of Granada and the Sultan of Babylon, who had supposedly paid the lepers a massive sum of gold to destroy Christendom from within.
Interesting.
This is the original mole people conspiracy.
Oh,
Now, if people have never heard of the mole people, it's a very fun one. It makes me laugh all the time. But it's the idea that there's like a subterranean group of people that just live underneath the ground.
so it's funny. You sent this to us, and it kind of freaked me out because I just watched a YouTuber. He's a very famous rock climber from, I can't remember where he's from, Denmark, Netherlands, whatever. But he just went into the undergrounds of France. And that was the story that they told, that it was catacombs, but it was also used as a home for lepers and others who would wander through the underground system of France.
Yeah, and so there was actually a precedent. I was actually going to bring that up. So there was a precedent in believing that this was actually real. The idea that there were lepers underground was actually true in the Parisian catacombs. Like, there were lepers underground, and so it wasn't that hard of a jump to make. Well, they've just gone underground everywhere. They've dug their own holes. They've built their own catacombs. They're living underneath there. This is also, believe it or not, one of the theories that introduces the idea of vampirism.
Ooh.
That you have these groups of people that live with the dead, coffins, whatever, that go out at night to infect you with disease.
Interesting.
So,
and it's still kind of believed today. That's what this YouTuber was talking about with the guide that he took in, is that there's still people that go under there and kind of...
There is and it's funny that you say that. Like I said, we think it's funny, but like the mole people thing, some people take it terribly seriously. Like, there's whole underground, like, societies. I mean, even within like the UFO community, the idea of these underground bases and, vast underground alien things. So... let's talk about the aftermath of this little leper plot of France, though. It was swift and it was violent. King Philip V issued an ordinance allowing local authorities to arrest and torture lepers. In many towns, mobs didn't wait for a trial. They rounded up entire communities of lepers and burned them at the stake. In one town, 160 lepers were burned in one pit over one night. The panic finally subsided when the government confiscated the property of the leper houses, revealing the economic motivation behind fueling the theory. So,
dang.
And it looks like in 1338, so, almost 2 decades after, there was the Pope Benedict the 8th, or 7th, sorry, that officially recognized the lepers were innocent. So they were innocent.
Sorry.
We apologize.
Our fault. Whoops. Sorry.
What's funny is it's like, we need their properties and goods restored. Well, aren't they dead?
They're all dead. They're all of them dead. Well, and the thing is leprosy was actually a combination of a couple different diseases. It wasn't just a single disease. There was leprosy that was caused by gangrene. There was leprosy that was caused by plague. There was leprosy that was caused by a bunch of different things. And so these poor people were just trying to survive, and the French...
and they were outcasts of society. That's what we should also say, is usually they were put in little, like, ghettos of themselves and kept separate from society.
Yeah. The next one, another French one. This is the third French one. This is called the Cathar subversion. Ooh. The Cathars were a Christian dualist movement that thrived in southern France. They believed that the physical world was inherently evil, created by a lesser malevolent deity, and that the spiritual world was good. Because their leaders lived lives of extreme poverty and asceticism, they gained massive Thank you, 8-year-old Danny. They gained massive popularity, directly challenging the wealthy Catholic Church.
For anyone who doesn't know, Danny used to have a list.
I did, a furious list.
And you can hear it come out
every
sometimes.
once in a while. It rears its ugly head.
His tongue just says, "Not today."
It's gonna be lazy. Here's the conspiracy theory. The Catholic Church hierarchy and the northern French nobles constructed a grand conspiracy theory around the Cathars to justify a military campaign against them. The theory stated that the Cathars weren't just a theological disagreement, but that they were a vast, insidious, countercultural conspiracy designed to utterly destroy the fabric of medieval society. They released propaganda. They talked about them worshiping Satan, or in the form of a big old black cat, which we'll talk about where that comes from in a minute, and were actively plotting the collapse of the feudal system by forbidding the swearing of oaths and banning procreation, which the Cathars did.
Yep.
And so the Cathars really did actually, they did forbid the swearing of oaths because it's found within the Bible. And they did not believe in procreation because they literally believed that the mortal world was wicked and evil. They didn't worship Satan. As a matter of fact, they worshiped a Christian god. There was no black cat. That was not something that was around. They didn't have nocturnal orgies. That was a very common thing, which kind of makes me laugh that you can believe that they were having orgies, but also believe that they banned procreation.
It's different, Danny. If you don't think it's going to happen, then it's not.
Well, that's true. They didn't actually know where babies came from at that time, so there you go.
Here's another fun fact, Jake. What are the boats that Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli attacked in the Battle of the Fields?
The Black Pirate one?
Mm-hmm. What are they called?
I don't know.
It's very similar to Cathar.
Are they?
I think.
Oh, Josh has got to look this up.
So you said that and you're not actually sure.
Well, I was pretty positive. What were the ships called? Blah, blah, blah.
So while Josh is looking up the ships, I do want to talk about the aftermath. This one theory, this completely made up story of a very passive and very culturally timid group of people created one of the very first crusades called the Albigensian Crusade. The first time a pope declared a crusade against Christians within Europe. It resulted in 20 years of brutal warfare and the slaughter of estimated 200,000 to 1 million people in southern France.
There were that many Cathars?
There was that, and the Cathars were raising in popularity. So they really were gaining popularity. They killed nearly 1 million people, and the Cathar culture was obliterated. There is no such thing as Cathars, at least in the historical sense. So, Josh, what was it?
Don't worry about it.
It wasn't even close?
No, it was Corsairs.
Oh.
Corsairs.
Well, Corsair is a kind of boat.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Now, were they called the Black Corsairs?
It was the Black Corsairs.
Okay. So I was close. I had pirates.
Yep. And they were, historically, Corsairs is not a made-up word. It's a privateer hired to do illegal things by the government.
You guys just learned something. Keep that in mind.
So the French had Corsairs, and they would hunt down Spanish things, or the Barbers and Ottomans had Corsairs as well.
Interesting.
That was a side tangent, but there you go.
It's a good side tangent. I like that side tangent. All right, let's talk about the Legend of the Assassins.
Legend of Zelda.
Ooh, Assassin's Creed. Here we go.
This is 100% where the Assassin's Creeds come from. There is a grain of truth in this whole entire thing, though. So the Assassins and the Legend of the Assassins are actually kind of a real thing. Mm-hmm. The theory. During the Crusades, Europeans encountered a real Nizari Ismaili Shia state in the mountains of Persia and Syria, led by a figure they called the Old Man in the Mountain. The group used targeted assassinations of political and military leaders as a defense strategy against larger armies. However, so that was real. That's 100% real.
Uh-huh.
There really was a group or a small Shia state in the mountains of Persia and of Syria. There was really an old man of the mountain.
Modern day Iran.
Yeah. Yep.
Just so everyone knows.
However, when the stories began to travel back to Europe, they morphed into elaborate conspiracy theories. Medieval Europeans believed that the Old Man of the Mountain ran a brainwashing syndicate. The theory claimed that he would drug young men with hashish. Good stuff. And take them to secret, luxurious gardens filled with milk, honey, and beautiful women, convincing them that they had visited paradise. The theory insisted that these men were completely stripped of their free will, acted as sleeper agents, and who could blend into the royal courts of Europe for years, and waited for a secret code that they would be given, and they would strike down the king. Wow. I think it's exciting. So it's not only just Assassin's Creed, but all of like the Manchurian Candidate, all of those assassin things that you brainwash people and you give them a secret code, and that secret code somehow sets them off. A very popular one nowadays, the Winter Soldier of Marvel Cinematic Universe. Very similar to the stories of that. I don't think that Bucky went into some secret garden while he was full of hashish, but maybe he did.
You never know. The word assassin is believed to come from Hashashin,
People of the hashish.
which are the hashishis,
Hashishis.
hashish users. So,
By
It's
the way,
interesting.
hashish is like marijuana. I'm just kidding. I don't know what it is, but
The theory caused some pretty severe paranoia.
nice.
Some pretty severe paranoia. Anytime that, like, a nobleman was like dead out of like mysterious circumstances, they would immediately blame the assassins. It created a culture of deep suspicion around foreign travelers, of diplomats, of physicians. People did not trust physicians, especially physicians who worked outside of the realm of the Catholic Church. European rulers lived in constant fear that their closest advisors, including their own wives and husbands, were secretly controlled and brainwashed agents, controlled by this mysterious figure in the Syrian mountains, the Old Man in the Mountain.
You also have to realize that this was also impacted historically, because you look at Rome, they were just assassinated, every other step by their wives, by their friends, by their senate, by their guards, by their blah, 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 blah. So there was probably some deep-seated, are you going to kill me? I'll kill you first. I'm going to kill you. And then they'd be dead because it was actually their child behind them that was going to kill them.
Then they did,
Yeah.
often.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, and then they would kill all their brothers and sisters. It was a pretty awful thing to be a nobleman back in the day.
I say it would have been awkward to be the oldest, Danny.
Well, just to let you know,
Some plots take a long time.
Yeah. Well, now
I
I'm
mean-
uncomfortable.
Shout out to Carcalla.
Carcalla.
Yep, he was an emperor of Rome, supposed to share the imperial title with his brother. Yeah, stabbed him to death over dinner,
Well, was it
and it built really good baths.
was it a good dinner?
I don't know.
Did he build baths in Bath, England?
No.
Which is where the term bath comes from. Did everybody know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, now
he
you
set
do.
up he actually made like industrialized hot tubs.
Nice. I watched Robin Hood Men in Tights the other day, and they've got that part in there where Prince John is in a jacuzzi, and it like pans out, and the jacuzzi is just
people
four
just blow
people
over.
blowing in the
Okay, I found this out the other day. Did you guys know that Blackbeard, as in like Blackbeard's ghost,
Theobald.
is the same guy who voiced Prince John in Robin Hood?
Yes.
I never made that connection.
Oh.
Oh, mommy.
I say you couldn't hear it. I say that was a.
For some reason, I couldn't tie
that's so funny.
a lion to. Anyway,
All right.
tangent.
Going a little farther in the future.
2027.
No, farther in the future from 1321.
Oh, okay.
This one is from 1678 called the Popish Plot.
The
Popish.
Popish.
The Popish Plot.
Not popish. Popish.
The Popish Plot. In 1678, England was already a tinderbox of anti-Catholic sentiment.
Tinderbox.
Friggin' Henry.
King Charles, actually.
Oh,
King Charles II had no legitimate children, meaning the heir to the throne was his openly Catholic brother, James, Duke of York, until Titus Oates came in. So who Titus Oates is? Titus Oates was a disgraced former naval chaplain who had been kicked out of virtually every single institution that he ever joined. I looked this guy up as I was preparing this. He really was just the biggest loser ever. However,
He didn't look good in
he
his
was
portrait
not.
either.
He's just not a very
he had
nice
a really
fellow.
big chin.
However, he was fanatically anti-Catholic, and he found another fanatically anti-Catholic writer named Israel Tong, and they made this 43-page manuscript detailing a grand papist conspiracy. It claimed that the Pope had appointed English Catholic lords to take over the government, that the Jesuit assassins were hiding in London to shoot or poison King Charles II, and that a French army was poised to invade and forcibly convert the nation back to Catholicism. Initially, people were pretty skeptical, especially the king. King Charles II looked at this and was like, I don't think so. Especially because King Charles brought Oates in front of him and questioned Oates and found Oates tripping over his own lies during the questioning. However, two events caused the public and the king to completely lose their mind. The first one was the murder of Sir Edmund Barry Godfrey. He was a prominent Protestant magistrate who had taken Oates' initial sworn depositions, and he was found dead in a ditch, strangled and run through with his own sword. Though the murder was never solved, the public immediately assumed that the Jesuit Catholic assassins had killed him. The second one was the Coleman letters. Investigators had searched the rooms of a man by the name of Edward Coleman. He was a Catholic secretary to James's wife, so he was Catholic. And they found correspondence with French agents discussing vague plans to advance the Catholic cause in England. It wasn't anything to do with an assassination. It really was just like, hey, should we bring Catholicism back? But that was the final proof that the public needed. And it was grim afterward. So Oates became a national hero. This just idiot of a man has now gotten all the wealth that he could ever want. He had this luxury apartment, had a huge state pension. He used his new power to point fingers at anyone he disliked. Courtrooms abandoned standard rules of evidence. Judges actively beat and browbeat Catholic defendants, and 22 men were executed by being hanged, drawn, and quartered. The panic only subsided when Oates, who I would like to just remind everybody is an idiot, said, oh yeah, the Queen is definitely in on this assassination. And the king went, no, he wasn't. So in 1685, Oates was tried for perjury, whipped through the streets of London, and pilloried annually. Though the damage to the English religion,
yeah, it's time to pillage.
The damage to the English religion tolerance lasted for generations. It also didn't help that during the same time you had a lot of the Jacobite things that were going on up north.
Big time.
You had a lot of like the Scottish Presbyterianism that was coming in and kind of really masking some super anti-Catholic views. But it was a fun conspiracy, and I like Nero Oates, the idiot.
I will also say this. King Charles II was such a failure that no monarch was named Charles after him, except for the one today. King Charles III.
Well, that's just rude.
Long live the king.
I have John Dryden published this description of our dear Oates.
Idiot.
Sunk were his eyes, his voice was harsh and loud, sure signs he neither choleric nor was proud. His long chin proved his wit, his saint-like grace, a church vermilion and a Moses face.
He kind of looks like he was stung by a bee.
Yeah, he's not a looker. All right.
He lived until like 17.
Yeah, he lived
so
a really long time.
Wow.
But he's 55.
Every year they just makes me laugh.
They pilloried him and whipped the boy through the street. All right. The Princes in the Tower.
Oh, this one's famous.
1483.
Ooh.
I don't know if I actually did research on this one.
Tower of London?
A little bit different. In 1483, King Edward IV died.
Oh no.
He's dead.
And it left the throne to his 12-year-old son, Edward V. The boy's uncle, Richard, Duke of Gloucestershire, intercepted the young king on his way to London and placed him in the Tower of London for his quote-unquote protection. Soon after, the boy's younger brother joined him. Within weeks, Richard declared the boys illegitimate on the grounds that their father had been secretly betrothed to another woman before marrying their mother. Richard took the crown for himself as Richard III. The boys were seen less and less through the heavily barred windows of the tower until they vanished altogether. Now, the initial conspiracy theory is pretty darn straightforward. Richard III had ordered his master of the house, Sir James Tyrrell, to smother the children with pillows, and that they could never be seen, couldn't rise to a rebellion. So pretty much Richard killed his nephews because he wanted the throne. But there's a counter theory. When Henry Tudor, or Henry VII, defeated Richard III in the Battle of Bosworth Field, he inherited a massive problem. If the princes were still alive, Henry's own claim to the throne was completely invalid. If they were dead, he needed to make sure Richard III took the blame. The conspiracy is that the boys were not only alive, but thriving, and that Henry Tudor the father of Henry VIII, by the way, who was Henry VII, murdered the children in front of Richard, and then took the throne from Richard.
Killed Richard.
Yep, and killed Richard.
Fun fact, in Shakespeare, he was known as a hunchback. Did you know that?
I think he was a hunchback in
real life.
Yeah.
They found his remains in a parking lot in 2012, and they realized that he had severe scoliosis of the spine, so much so that he probably looked like a hunchback in real life.
The mystery took a physical turn in 1674. So this was about 200 years later. As they were working on the Tower of London, they dug a wooden chest containing the skeletons of 2 young children whose ages perfectly matched those of the missing princes. King Charles II ordered the bones moved to Westminster Abbey. We just talked about Charles II.
Yep.
Where they remained. Because the British Crown was consistently denied requests to conduct modern DNA testing or carbon dating on the remains, the true culprit of the Renaissance era's greatest disappearance remains a matter of theory. They have never verified that these children are the 2 missing princes, and people want to know why.
Say that is a little weird.
Nobody knows.
Because, Danny, if it's true, then they're not the rightful heirs.
Actually, that is very true. There is some conspiracy that an ongoing modern day conspiracy that if it was ever found out that
because it would go to
illegitimizes the entire crown.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Okay. The last one. The Malleus Maleficarum.
Malleus Maleficarum.
Malleus Maleficarum, or the Shadow Army. Before the late 15th century, if a cow stopped producing milk or a crop failed, peasants might blame a local cunning woman or a personal curse. The publication of the Malleus Maleficarum altered human history by convincing an entire continent that the local mishaps were part of a coordinated global terrorist network of witches. The book was written by a man by the name of Heinrich Kramer. He was the German inquisitor who was profoundly obsessed with gender and the devil.
Gender and the devil.
And sex. He also had some things about
see.
sex.
Okay.
In 1485, Kramer tried to launch a massive witch hunt in Istenbruck, Austria. He focused entirely on the sexual habits of local women, prompting the local bishop to step in and pretty much say, you are an idiot and you're senile and you're unstable. Literally in German, they called him the senile, unstable old man.
Senile, stable, unstable old man.
Furious and seeking to vindicate himself, Kramer wrote the Malleus Maleficarum, or the Hammer of the Witches. To give the book unassailable authority, he forged a document claiming that the prestigious University of Cologne's Faculty of Theology universally endorsed his writings. The core of Kramer's book wasn't just about magic, it was about an organized apocalyptic conspiracy. He asserted that the witches were not just practitioners of folk medicine, but active members of an underground anti-Christian syndicate. According to the text, the secret society required members to renounce Jesus, engage in ritualistic infanticide, I always have a hard time with that, to brew flying ointments that they would put on their brooms from the fat of unbaptized babies, and systematically sabotage human reproduction, causing male impotence and livestock barrenness to dwindle the numbers of Christians faithful.
What the heck was wrong with this guy?
It is amazing what people would believe back in the day.
What they believe now.
Well, the crazy thing is this spread like wildfire.
It caused literally. So this was 1480 something, and you have to think the Salem witch trials, which were a result of this, took place almost 140 years later.
Yes, yeah. I mean, one of the big things that the Gutenberg printing press was brand new.
Yeah.
And so he was able to get on the printing press, and it just spread all over the place. It provided a handy, literal legal manual for judges to explain how to strip a defendant of their rights, how to look for the devil's mark, how to use continuous sleep deprivation and torture to extract confessions. It transformed localized superstition into literal state-sanctioned mass hysteria and panic, and resulted in the execution of an estimated 40 to 60,000 people over the next 2 centuries. And this is the crazier thing. It is still believed today by certain sects within the Christendom. People still will look at this and go, okay, he was onto something.
Yeah, it looks like it's the foundation for a lot of demonologists.
Yes.
Exorcism.
Like literally like demonologists of today.
Which is crazy to me that there's an actual study of demons.
It's a Catholic Church sanctioned. It's taught within.
Yeah. But Martin Luther, even, it looks like he was very much convinced of the reality of the evil of witches, and that facilitated some of the development of his Protestant demonology too.
Dang.
And you can blame it only on one person, Heinrich Kramer.
Because he was a little too interested in certain acts of women.
Yep.
My gosh.
Yeah, and so you can still find the Maleficarium. Once again, don't recommend it, but you can still find it. It's in print. It's still very much printed. It's also super studied.
Well, that's because Pope Innocent VIII praised his work in the papal bull Summis Durferentius Affectibus, which is still an edict that is recognized by the Catholic Church.
So most sociologists and psychologists actually will frequently use the structures that are taught within the Malleus Maleficarium as a baseline conspiracy model to explain how modern conspiracy theories operate. So this is a perfect example of how conspiracy theory comes about. You have some kind of underlying belief by one person that can spread to an entire group of individuals that has no basis in reality, but if it has strong enough language, if it has specificity, if it has an underlying enemy, you can literally point to this. It's gone so far that modern analysts point to the 3 core principles from the Malleus that still appear in modern panics, including the satanic panic of the 1980s and 90s. It is crazy. So Kramer famously wrote that to even doubt the existence of witches was itself a form of heresy and made you a witch. So within his own writing, he actually made it so
you can't doubt his
you
writing.
can't doubt his writing or you're a witch.
Crazy.
That's very selfish.
Yeah, and the other thing that kind of keeps popping up again and again nowadays that kind of really came from the Maleficarium is the idea of what's called grand bureaucracy. It's the idea that people don't just do bad things. You have to belong to a highly organized network, that there's secret societies everywhere, that there's initiation rites, that there's a global agenda, that there's a lot of different things that are going on. So modern day echo chambers, 100% like this.
Yeah.
You know, you hear about and it kind of becomes like a self-fulfilling promise or a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you have people that get scared of a group that does not exist. Let's say the Illuminati, which for all intents and purposes historically wasn't what it was. But then you make it into something, and all of a sudden you have these people that say, oh, I want to be and make something like this. And all of a sudden you have like modern day groups that are doing horrific things under the name Illuminati, even though it really didn't exist historically.
Yeah, I came across a few of those.
And it's 100% true. Also is the torture and confirmation bias, the idea that you can get... when this first came out and people were doing this, people were admitting that they were witches, but they were admitting that they were witches because the poor people were like near death because they were being tortured. So conspiracy theories historically are crazy.
They are, and they're crazy today sometimes. Sometimes, like, for example, I just sent Danny and Jake a video this morning, and so let's be honest,
3-hour one.
I may prescribe to some conspiracy theories, but
Well, and the idea, the interesting thing is that there has been, a handful of times where a conspiracy theory becomes true. In one way or another. A lot of times it's a lot more mellow than what the actual conspiracy is, but there are conspiracy theories that have come true. But take everything with a grain of salt, people.
Do your research.
Have a very healthy skepticism when you hear something like a conspiracy theory. Okay, should we do some final words?
Final thoughts.
Let's talk. Let's do Josh. You have
As I make all the sounds, sorry. Final thoughts. Conspiracy theories. Do research. Just don't believe people off their face value.
Yeah, go read their book.
Go. Pray about it.
Yeah, that's good, Josh. I like that.
Because that's what I'd do. Just kidding. No, I think conspiracy theories of history are pretty funny and pretty fun and pretty scary because a lot of the times they're true. And that's terrifying. The end.
Good on you, Josh.
Good job. Jake, final words from you.
As we were doing research on this, it was fun going through and even looking at the psychology of this and even with some of the other stuff that happened, it took me kind of all over. But one of the things that came up was some gentleman, I can't remember his name right now. I'll have to do some research and we'll have to bring it up for the human condition sometime. Because he was studying, trying to find out why so many people allowed the Holocaust to happen.
Oh,
because it just seems so.
And there's still people that
outrageous.
don't believe.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's so outrageous that people would let that happen, and yet you see that this is happening. This has happened several times throughout history, and like he even did research into like, well, who's susceptible to this? And his findings were everyone. Everyone is susceptible to this. If you get a bunch of people together in a particular culture, and then you start feeding information and start feeding stuff to them, you can make people believe anything. Especially if you are really pushy. So
I mean, one individual, Napoleon, with nationalism, claiming that French were superior to all, and then convinced him to, hey, let's go conquer the world.
Yep.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and so it's interesting to see that in these conspiracies, you often see someone. It starts with someone, and he kind of feeds off of other people's perceptions and then just slowly injects some more and more. And then oftentimes you see in these that there's not a way out. The way out is, oh, you're the problem, therefore you die type of thing. And it's really interesting.
Yep, you are the enemy. If you do not believe in this, you are the enemy. So there's a couple different scientists that I'm going to talk about because I think that it would be really interesting to talk about it. The very first, Dr. Karen Douglas from the University of Kent. She is the one who started the what's called the 3 psychological needs of conspiracy theories. Very good book. Excellent book that she put out. I recommend it highly. The one I think you're talking about, Jake, is Dr. Joseph Uksinski. He looked at like the political, like conspiracies as a political tool and what's called the equal opportunity myth, which is everybody is susceptible to conspiracy theories. There was also the Dr. Stephen Lewandowski. Another really interesting thing. I think that we should make this a human condition. We need to talk about why we believe in conspiracies.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows I do. I mean, I fall into it sometimes as well because I think they're kind of fun sometimes.
They're just so outrageous that sometimes you just want to believe something outrageous.
I do.
I believed, because I was told this is a fact, that if you sleep with your mouth open, the spiders will walk in your mouth.
So you actually eat how many spiders a year? Yeah, I remember them teaching that in elementary school.
I have intentionally caused myself to wake up if I start breathing out of my mouth. Close my mouth to sleep.
Really?
You don't tape your mouth shut like some people say?
No, because then I'll suffocate and die.
That's my problem too. The apnea.
No, it's really interesting. And the thing about it is, you feed off beliefs.
You do.
And some people, they just don't want to believe what's right in front of them. They want to believe that there is something else.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. And once again, like I wish I could say that I am a completely logical person, but there has been some times where I am more than happy to believe something that is on the side of conspiracy.
What's the one that I always believe in? There's a 43rd flavor. Is that what it is? What's the
Of
22nd flavor.
Yeah, is that
of,
what it is?
Baskin Robbins.
Okay, is that what it is?
There's a 22nd flavor.
So
it's true.
it's something out there.
There is.
Or Walt Disney's just in a was it cryo
Cryogenic
And the whole
sleep.
reason that they made the movie Frozen was if you search up Disney Frozen, it would show the movie and not the conspiracy theory.
See?
There you
It's
go.
all true.
Because here's the thing. Is there anyone called Frozen in the movie?
No.
No, she's an ice queen. It originally was going to be called Disney's Ice Queen. Mic drop.
Are there actual people buried in the Haunted Mansion cemetery?
Listen,
Ooh.
I do know that there is a pretty common practice of people bringing the ashes of their
You
dead
could get
loved
kicked out
ones.
for that now.
You can.
Can you? You're walking in line and some guy's just like,
There's literally a policy.
Yep.
Like there is like a written policy that Disney has because there's been so many times.
I'm pretty sure there's a sign there now that says, do not leave your humanly
loved
remains.
ones.
Yeah.
And Pirates of the Caribbean, it's like, just go ahead.
yeah, I say just dump them.
Just dump them
It's
in the water.
fine.
This
It's
water's filtered. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's funny whenever you see rules and go, there's a reason that rule is there, because I'm pretty sure that wasn't on the initial list of rules. So that means someone went, do you know what I'm going to do? Someone just carries around a big duffel bag. I'm like, what's that? Nothing. What are you doing with that shovel?
Nothing.
Or the what? Do you know what one scared me as a kid? Which actually is true, is that there's actual skeletons in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
There's one.
There's one still.
Yeah.
He replaced all the others, but now every time I go through, I'm like, that person's dead.
Well, do you know what you can do? Tell your younger brother as you're walking through the Indiana Jones area where the spikes come down,
That they're real.
that they're real, and that if you're really, really not careful, that they can come down.
Don't step on the
And
eyes
so
on
here,
the bottom.
And then shake the bamboo sticks.
So let's see. This was, I think, a 6-year-old Jake that was going through and going,
You
what's
weren't
going to happen?
6.
I think so, because I wasn't 12.
That's true. You probably were 6.
So I was going
That's
through,
hilarious.
and what did Danny do? Because this is when they did drop a little bit. This is before they stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could shake
do
the
you know what's
bamboo
funny?
and the thing would
Is
come down a little
what
bit.
Jake didn't realize is that here's Jake in the front, and then probably Danny egging him on not to step on the, and then 2-year-old Josh is stepping on every single eye behind him.
Oh, yeah. It was, it was a good prank that I still am emotionally traumatized
Scarred.
by.
I love it. That's what I do in life.
That's what we'll have to talk about. One of the human conditions is how Danny scarred Jake for life.
There's
And
lots of
how
different ways.
He, I don't know what he did to me.
Well, we can go over many.
We can.
To me,
Yeah, but just the babysitting experience alone, we'll just go over. It'll be Jake's therapy
I went
session.
hours without having
I was going to say that
change my
it will
pants.
be me being very quiet during that podcast. Penitent, I think, is another word for it. Sorry, Jake.
He's
And-
better
and let's
going,
be
oh,
honest,
you're fine.
It's
oh,
funny
you're
because
rough."
we are good storytellers and we tend to exaggerate the
Are
truth.
we?
So it will be,
Do we exaggerate?
Danny babysat us to, Danny locked us in prison and Draper and, threw away the key and mom and dad had to go and fight zombies to get us out or something like that.
It's all true. Or is it?
I had to walk on a
Conspiracy.
thin wooden plank with both sides equaling that of lava.
So did Josh.
But Josh wasn't poked with a stick.
No, I poked Josh with a stick. I just didn't.
No.
I just poked you harder.
Remember, my only obstacle was to walk on the stick. Jake had to cross on top of the monkey bars.
Yep, down the ladder. I had to jump from the ladder onto the planks.
Might I remind you that you guys asked to do this
That is true.
afterward?
We
You
did.
would be like, hey, can we?
It was fun until it wasn't.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a conspiracy. Thank
more
you
like
so much for
familial
joining
scars.
us. Yeah, seriously. Generational trauma. Thank you so much for joining us. We are back for another 3. Obviously, when I say back, we were back last week when I failed to post
That's okay,
a thing for a
Danny.
week.
You went on a happy trip to the country's capital.
There was nothing happy about it.
No.
Not anything.
I thought walking with Abraham Lincoln's statue would
It was
make
great.
you feel joy.
Next week, it will be Jake talking paranormal. Jake, do you have any ideas of what you're gonna do?
Yes, we're going to talk about trickster spirits.
Ooh, trickster spirits. We're talking like
The Joker,
no,
Talking about
the
like,
Riddler.
we have Loki type stuff.
like
Oh.
the poltergeist and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be a creepy
I
one.
think I'm out of town.
I'm going to call you.
Join us next week. Thank you all.
Hey, thanks, brother and sister.